Hello, my name is Ryan. Welcome to Cigars, Guns, and God, where I blind myself for about 10 minutes with a spotlight and tell jokes that aren't funny in order to tell you everything you need to know about being a man. I debated on what to talk about today. There were two things that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about and present to you. And what I decided on was this. This is the HKUMP. This is an exact replica. I apologize, it's not the real thing. This is an airsoft replica licensed by H&K. Licensed, which means that we have all of the serial numbers and licensing here on the side. Let's see. Alright. We've got our serial number right in there. And then we've got H&K, UMP, which you probably can't see. We've got our warnings. This was a package deal, meaning that it came with the foregrip, and it also came with a Walther scope, which I am taking off very soon to replace with this red dot Barska scope. And this scope will be going on my rifle. So let's see, what can we say here? I also attached a red dot laser here on the front. Now again, this is an exact replica. The internal gearbox is, of course, metal. This is an electronic operated weapon. And the outside, the exterior, the entire exterior is made of a very strong, excuse me, a very strong, I think I just burped, polymer material, which is what the actual UMP, if you were to pick one up for yourself, that is what it's made of. It is made to be very versatile. This is a CQB type weapon. This is for moving around in tight spaces, being very light, and being easy, even for security personnel to hide, to conceal under a coat. This does feature a folding stock. It's got a button here on the side. This is a folding stock to make it even smaller. Very happy with this weapon. It is extremely accurate, extremely light. The battery lasts for a very long time, and the magazine is very high capacity. You're going to fit a lot of rounds into this magazine. Again, the magazine's kind of long. It's not your banana clip. This is an exact replica. This is what it looks like. That's how it's made. This is a polymer magazine as well. I'm not sure if the actual weapon features a polymer or a metal magazine, so I can't say much about that. But what I can say, these magazines are a little bit pricey, running sort of in the $40 range. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe that store carried them for. You've got a thumb release down here on the bottom. And this just goes straight up. I mean, you could pop this in any direction. You're never going to have problems getting this magazine in. There's not a lot of fiddling or fumbling. Just right into the weapon, clicks in. It's very solid and secure. It doesn't shake around. It's not going to get in your way, and you don't ever have to worry about it falling out or coming loose. The cocking mechanism here on the side. You really want it. You really want to pull it. You really want to cock this from here. You cannot. It doesn't work. It is a fixed piece there. Heckler & Koch has a lot of reputation for doing that. They don't feature a whole lot of blowback weapons, and they don't feature a lot of weapons with parts moving that are supposed to move. That is disappointing sometimes, but I can say they make up for it with realism and accuracy. Again, like I said, this is a very accurate weapon. It did come with an orange tip on it, which is extremely easy to remove. And the way that the end of the barrel is designed here, you can fix a silencer on there. It is not threaded in any which way, shape, or form, and you cannot thread it. What you can get is an attachment. There are silencers that are very specifically made for this weapon system. Then you can slip right on there. This is an ambidextrous weapon if you don't have the stock folded. If you have the stock folded, it is very hard to get up in here with the firing selector switch. But on this side, thumb operated, very, very, very simple to go in and out of. But if you have your stock unfolded, which is how you're going to have it most of the time, this is an ambidextrous weapon. What I will say about that is when you're selecting fire, one of the things that I found myself doing most often, because I am right-handed, is that with my thumb here, it's very easy to flip this down, not easy to bring it back up. Not at all. So a lot of times I found myself bringing it down into either single or, semi-auto or fully auto, and to bring it back up using this finger, which isn't that uncommon. I believe that some of these weapons are made with an ambidextrous control that way for that reason. Right over here, I like to do this just for kicks in the middle of your game. Again, that cocking mechanism on the other side is not operational, but what you have right here is access to the gearbox. This is metal. It makes a cool little sound. I like that. But it's not just for show. What is under there is your hop-up control that is adjustable on this weapon system. The scope that came with it, again, this was a package deal. You can buy your UMP by itself, or you can buy this package deal. This foregrip is very cheap. It is a very cheap plastic foregrip. I have another one that is more of your Magpul style, very heavy duty, very strong polymer made foregrip. This is not the kind of polymer that you find on this weapon. This is a PVC plastic. Not that great. It does screw on and off. And so you have your semi-auto and then your fully auto. Very nice rate of fire. Beautiful rate of fire. One thing is you don't want to be putting this on semi-automatic and pulling your trigger too fast. It will lock up your gears. What I found myself doing most often was firing one shot with my semi-automatic just to trace my round, and then on fully auto, all of your rounds are going to be going in that same direction. Very accurate and extremely reliable. It was only during my first time playing with this weapon that I found myself with a few firing issues and a few jams. But that didn't last. That did not last long at all. Especially if you're winding up. Again, this is a high cap mag. You do have your winding down here. If you're winding consistently and you're keeping up with your shots, you're not going to have a lot of firing issues with this weapon. Let's just kind of get a closer look here real quick. Again, so you've got a rail. You've got one rail on either side, and then you have a rail on the bottom. There's no way to attach a rail to the top, unfortunately, unless you really want to mod that and you really want to play around with that. But it's definitely not designed that way, especially if you're going for realism with your cocking mechanism back on this side. Although it doesn't work, I wouldn't attach a rail there. It kind of just takes away from the overall feel of the weapon system. You do have a rail right up here, though, which is nifty. Again, I'm going to throw a different scope on there. I don't mess with this at all. I don't at all. And especially when you've got a mask on, you have to get such a tiny little nice little cheek weld on there to use those sights. Almost completely useless. But with a scope, this is a beautiful weapon system. You barely even have to zone in with this scope because you know where one round goes, every round is going. That is what I can say about the UMP by Heckler & Koch. Trigger pull is incredible. I love it. It's not tough. It's not too far. It's very, very short. Very, very short and very easy. One thing with all of the weapons that Heckler & Koch makes, another one of which I was going to speak about, which I'll talk about another time, but I'm going to show it to you briefly, is the Heckler & Koch USP. That's the handgun. Not going to go into it, just going to show it to you. We'll talk about another. With that, and with this, most of the Heckler & Koch weapon systems, they're not made to go inside, to really mess around with, to play around with, to customize. I consider them kind of the Mac realm of weapon systems. Mac computers, they're made to work and function and be accurate and precise and easy to use for anybody who's using them for the purposes they were made for. But if you're more of a PC kind of person and you want something that you can really go inside of and customize and work with and change and take out and put back in, then this is not the system for you. Okay? Maybe you want to go with more of a milsim type system where you can bust it open, or you can look inside, you can move it around, you can take it apart, put it back together, field strip, and all this and that and the other thing. But if you want a weapon system that is made in one way, and you want to just use your rails and your scopes, that is fantastic. But if you want something, just for functionality, it's going to work the way that it was made, this is the system for you. Absolutely. The battery, let's take this off real quick. Clip the rounds in there. If you hear that rattling, that is just the battery. That's one thing that I don't necessarily like. There are ways to prevent that. You could get a slightly bigger battery. You can put a tube in there. You can get some padding. But I'm going to pop that out real quick. And then once I do that, I'll be back in just a second. I don't want to waste time taking that out, but then I'll shake it around and let you kind of listen to it without any battery. Alright, so we're back. So I just pulled the battery out of this baby. Again, that's probably something we should go over before we even move on. The battery is located right back here underneath the folding stock. Oh, look at that view. That's a perfect view. You pull this down, and you've got your, that's where you're going to connect your battery, and also where you can access your spring, and you can kind of, put a different spring in there. That is one thing that you can customize. If you want to get a lot more power out of this weapon, you can throw a higher tension spring in there. You can kind of mess around with that. But that is where that's located. I love that. It's not on the side. It's not where wires are hanging out or sticking out or where you can see it through the barrel or anything. It really adds to the realism. Hides right behind here, behind the folding stock. But now let's listen. Oh, okay. Listen to that. Not a thing, not a row. That was just this. But listen. Nothing. Very sturdy. Very well made. But when you got the battery in there, it might shake around a little bit. You can fix that. Who cares? And the only reason I'm putting a lot of emphasis on that is because I don't like it when a weapon system rattles. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. It sounds busted. It sounds like something's going on. It sounds fake. And you're not going to get a lot of rattle out of this weapon system. Of course, if you got your clip in, you're going to have a little bit of rattle. Once you rank up the tension on that, though, you're not. Okay? So overall, this is a fantastic weapon system. I love it on the field. Fast rate of fire. Sturdy construction. You drop it, it's going to be alright. The rails, beautiful location. Left, right, and on bottom, that's fantastic. That's all I need for my laser, my flashlight, for my grip. I have a rail on top for my scope. The folding stock is incredible. High capacity magazine, you grab 2 of these and you've got a whole game. You're fine. You're not going to need any more than that. Unless you're one of those guys that just likes to run around and spray, which I am not. Very short, very easy trigger pull, very easy selector switch. Again, the iron sights are not that fantastic. Well, the iron sight and then its polymer brother up on the front there. Not my favorite thing in the world. If you don't like scopes, if you're more of a naturalist when it comes to how you're zoning in, that's fine. Go ahead, take off the screw. You can do whatever the heck you want. But if you want a reliable weapon that's going to work the way that you get it out of the box, literally, I bought this, and an hour later, not even a half hour later, I was on the field, I was playing, and it was fantastic. Love this weapon from Heckler & Koch. Again, this is the UMP. Only good things to say about this weapon system. Only good things. Again, this is my opinion on this weapon system. I like the way it runs and operates. Maybe you're more of a customized guy or girl. Enough of my ranting and rambling. Please like this video, subscribe if you'd like to hear more about cigars, guns, and God, and I'll see you next time.